it appears that Trae Young is starting to ascend into star status. Is he going to become a star or a superstar? We'll talk about that coming up. 20 seconds.
Oh, man.
As Jimmy laughs. We're going to wrap this up. Put a little bit of a bow on it. And ask a question, Jimmy. Philadelphia 76ers took an L in the first game of the second round matchup that I honestly did not expect. And it has sold me on the notion of this. So, Jimmy, is it fair or unfair to say that Trae Young is starbound?
Finally, and I say finally, we haven't had to wait very long. This is his third season. But finally, the world is getting to see and accept that he is and should be a superstar in this league.
No, superstar. What? That's a little far-fetched there, guy.
Yeah. After those Madison Square Garden performances and taking out Philadelphia 76ers, and they may very well win this series, he's a superstar. If he gets this team to the conference finals against the Bucks or the Nets. So, yeah. And I'm telling you why this is happening because, yes, we know his game is, in a sense, patterned after Steph Curry. Right. In that game, I mean, you see what you can do with that type of a game. Steph's already done in multiple championships, unanimous MVP. That's about the ceiling as far as what Trae Young's going to be able to do. But with that kind of game mixed with being a villain now and relishing that role, I think that, and I said this is perfect for him. This is exactly what would separate him from just being looked at as a clone of Steph Curry and being able to make multiple all-star games even after averaging 27 points, 9 assists, and not getting selected to a team to play in a game that's in your own building, which is still one of the biggest travesties I've ever seen in the history of NBA All-Star games. But nonetheless, yeah, it's being a villain. People, and you know this, Jay, just with the kind of movies that we've seen, in terms of how villains are looked at differently in films now, especially superhero films, how people have become more interested in what the villain has to say and what their experiences are like and where they come from. So this would be the exact same thing with Trae. He's like the most, just like usual suspects. He's the least likely person you would think to be the bad guy at the very end, but that's what makes it so compelling.
Right.
Because you would think it would be somebody else. So for that reason, because I think a lot of times star power and popularity is shaped and molded by reputation, him being a villain more so really than what he's doing in the playoffs, that's what's going to get him there.
Dang, I put it like this. I do feel like we're throwing this superstar word out loosely. First, you got to make it to star level. And I think that now he's emerging to actually being a star. I don't see him as a top 5 player in this league. And I believe that if you're a superstar, you're top 5 in the league. Mm-hmm. I think that he can get there. I think he can get there.
Yeah.
But I think it's unfair to say that he is star bound. I think it's unfair to give him a superstar status yet. Let's see him pull a rabbit out of his hat this series or do this again next year. Because I need to see some repetition. Like Luka, I can give Luka the going into the superstar status because the numbers he put up is a lot higher than what Trae has. Even though the funny thing behind all of this is that there was a swap between Atlanta and Dallas.
Yes.
And of course, these two will be forever connected because they swap picks. And Trae Young's the only one that's in the second round so far.
That's right.
Like now, I mean, of course, you could try to potentially say that the East is a lot weaker than the West. Cool story. The Clippers did purposely try to play Dallas. It seems like 2 years in a row. Maybe so. But you play with the cards that's dealt. You play what's right in front of you. And Trae Young is in the second round and Luka's not. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say that it's fair to say that that Trae is better than Luka because I'm unfortunately going to take the 6'7", 6'9" guy over
every GM in the NBA will.
Over the 5'11", the 6'1" point guard. Even though I thoroughly appreciate Trae Young's game, Trae Young shoots horribly all the time, but he shoots with so much conviction and confidence that it really don't matter. Because you still have to respect it. And I guess that's where the Steph Curry piece of it is. Steph Curry can have a really bad game, but you still got to respect the shot because if he makes 1, he's going to make 2. He makes 3, he's going to make 4, he's going to make 5, and it's not going to stop.
Right.
With Trae Young, it's the exact same way, especially with him pulling up from the logo on a regular basis. And teams are like, probably should defend that.
And and I know this discussion has been Trae Young centric, but how impressed are you with the team around him with how they've been playing? Like Bogdanovich, Collins, Capella. I mean, they look. Nate McMillan took over for this team. They look really well coached. They look very poised.
That's exactly what I was going to say. They look very well coached. And it's a bunch of role players with one star who basically runs the entire offense. Look, let me put it to you like this. The Atlanta Hawks starting lineup, are you ready? Were all negative plus minus. Trae was a negative and plus minus.
Really?
Yes. He was negative 11. Capello's negative 4. Solomon Hill was negative 10. And then Collins was a negative 12 in this game.
Okay, so Embiid had 39 points, assists,
10 rebounds.
How did they win this game? How did they have the lead that they had throughout the majority of this game?
They opened the game up just blazing. They weren't missing anything to start the game, and that's what you need in order to win this series. So I'm going to say this in this prediction for the series. I don't see Atlanta winning this series. I think Atlanta's going to give us a great fight, but there is a very small chance that this team shoots lights out like it did in this last game. Very slim chance that they continuously shoot this lights out. I don't know if I can buy in on Atlanta yet. I would love to buy in on Atlanta, but this team is also based in Georgia. And the thing that I've learned about teams that are based in Georgia is that they have a tendency of floundering or disappearing or just jizzing off the best. The best situations that they have. This is not something that I can be sold upon until I see them prove no different than the Clippers. But the exact same way about the Clippers going into the Western Conference Finals. They've never made it past the second round, so I can't be sold on it. With this Atlanta team, they have a tendency of doing really well and then just falling off. No different than the Hawks. The last time they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, they got swept.
Yeah.
So I struggle with putting my faith in teams that have not proven anything to me yet. At least those that have proven to me that they have more of a tendency of fumbling the bag than they do actually securing it.
Well, by that same note, what makes you so confident in the 76ers? Like, what has this version of the 76ers ever done to convince anybody?
Their team has won a championship in the last 100 years.
Okay.
No, the 76ers haven't done anything super drastic to basically fumble the bag. I put it like that. Like give me something that they've done that was a bag fumble. Like, I mean, you had this and then all of a sudden you fell apart. Because you remember the Eagles won a Super Bowl a couple years ago beating the GOAT. So I feel like that energy around Philadelphia isn't that, oh, we're going to get there and then drop.
So it's more to do with the city than it does to do with the
I feel like
teams.
it's that because, I mean, that's what Georgia teams do. They have a tendency of having everything that they're supposed to have and then just disappearing.
I mean, they took a hell of a shot from this 76ers team because think about this. You got 20 and 10 from Tobias Harris. I already mentioned 39 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and some blocks from Embiid. Simmons was perfect from the field, 7 of 7, had 17 points, 10 assists, and Seth Curry had 21, 5 of 9 from 3. That's a hell of a shot to take, even though you get out to a big lead, but still able to maintain it when that team counterpunches who's supposed to beat you.
They almost lost it, though. That fourth quarter was almost textbook Georgia, wasn't it? Now, you cannot tell me, because they had up one point, they had to have been up at least 20 points. And so I was in between that game and on my iPad, I was watching the softball game. I was watching the OU JMU softball game, which I feel really bad that they didn't make the cut of anything, even though those games were really, really good. I was watching it before you got here. They almost did textbook, Jimmy, textbook Georgia things.
They got outscored 41-29 in the fourth quarter.
Exactly. And the 76ers basically went on a fourth quarter run that was everything you would expect from, like I said, a Georgia team. I mean, the 76ers at one point were down 107-88.
Actually, in the second half, Philly outscored them 70-54.
Right. So I feel like, even though I don't believe in momentum, I do think that Philly's going to come out blazing in the second half, prepared on what to do. Trae Young's going to get his, and they doubled the hell out of him in the second half. They started really doubling him and forcing some bad turnovers. They had some bad passes by Atlanta at the end of that game where they almost, like I said, just fumbled the bag. They were lucky enough to secure it. I can see Atlanta just fumbling the bag through the rest of the series.
I really do want to be against you on this because I like what this Atlanta team is doing, and they really surprised me in the first round against the Knicks. But you do make a lot of sense with what you're saying about what we can expect from Philadelphia.
The score was 118 to 104. It was a 14-point lead with 3 minutes left, and the game was a 4-point lead. They had it down to 2 points with 10 seconds left and still almost lost. Jimmy, that's telling me something right there. The John Collins alley-oop was legit. That was beautiful by Trae DeBarge, as they're calling him right now. That was dope. That was great exclamation point to hopefully cut things down. And they were up with 16 seconds left, 125 to 118, and somehow it was still with 6 seconds away. 6 seconds, Jimmy, it became a 2-point game. Okay. How are you up 125 to 118, and then 6 seconds later, you're only up by 2 points? Cause for concern.
Cause for concern. Okay, I'll give you that.
So I am going to be a little optimistic. It's going to be good, but I don't know. So, Jimmy?